to stand up and do our adoration to Ra. We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father and Mother, who is everything that we can perceive and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neteru Ra, who is the light of the heavens, the light of the inner planes, and the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of light and vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the fact of their place, position, and responsibility in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akeru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality. And in the moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everyone and everything has let us down, it is, and so shall it be. Amen Ma'at, Ma'akeru, 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 Ma'akeru. MC.
Can y'all pick up y'all chairs and just move closer? Y'all don't have to move to blank empty chairs, just move y'all chairs.
It's so good to be here with you on this Haru Ra. I am the Kopesh of the Temple of Anu, and my name is Compression Netta Mesru Ra. Or Ren, we like to use the word Ren for the name. And in writing this, our discussion would be about Kemetic resiliency, and also I'm going to get into a little, not a little, it's a lot, but base level of theology. The reason I added theology to my speaking point near the end is because I see online and we get questions like, what do you believe and what's our theological story as the Temple of Anu? So I'm just going to touch on those two things. This is technically a two-part session, but we're going to get right into part one. It's funny, you know, when you're writing things and you're zoning in, you got to really watch your energy, right? Like, your level of discernment sometimes has to be higher than you think it is when dealing with a community, and also our ability to give proper space and grace. You know, when I first wrote this, it was real dense, like gravity, kind of like my personality. But it's cool, you know, mind in the cosmos, body engraved in stone and dense on earth, right? That's just kind of like my personal model of myself. So I should always be learning, but I should definitely be 10 toes down in what I believe and what I practice and what I consistently do. And so I want to open up from the book of Ani with, everyone can master their nature if the wisdom that they've been taught has made the nature stable. Once again, everyone can master their nature if the wisdom that they've been taught has made their nature stable. In resiliency, you know, it is being able to deal with the ups and downs, being able to handle things as they come. So, if I say anything during a speech and a shoe fits you, you can always take those shoes off and send them to Pluto and get you a new pair of something better. So don't take it to heart, take it as a learning experience. Because criticism and critique is really how we grow, really how we put ourselves to the test, and that's Kemites. And Kemites meaning us who are trying to live a legacy that stands the test of time, like the pyramids on top of the sand. That is our goal, to be living deity, and not just a scientifical thought, or not just some secret society essence behind it, but know that Ra and all of our Neteru is very real, and not to be ministerial and broken down into minute aspects of human existence. I think that is what kind of has affected our community. We have broken what is divine down to almost like a dust particle. Whereas people go like, where do you guys stand? I hear you talk about breath. I hear you talk about this, but that doesn't give people that God essence. And all human beings are looking for that God essence. And that's what really is beautiful about being Kemetic. You know, there's a lot of different traditions and beliefs out there. And there's a new wave of belief coming. You know, we got the whole ancient Sumerian thing happening, Gilgamesh and all that good stuff. And shout out to them over there. But we are over here in our sands of time as well. And we are just as authentic or even more authentic as their sands of time. So I want to be quite clear upon that. It is not a battle of who's who. It's a battle of who is doing what in live time. So your knowledge is fine, but if you're not able to live your knowledge, then it's just knowledge. It's actually almost just, it's like a crazy man in a park talking. You talk to them, he tell you something really knowledgeable, but they were never able to apply their knowledge. And as Kemmunions, we must be able to apply their knowledge. So I open up by saying thank you all and everyone here in the building with me. This is Haru Ra. Thank you for everyone state to state watching us online. And thank you for those who are not feeling well, who are tuned into us and taking the time out, because that's part of resiliency. Being dedicated to your cause is showing up on a consistent basis, especially in a society where things and people and thought processes are microwavable or Googleable without the proper context. So, I don't want to speak like from a robot thing, but everything we talk about must have proper context.
That's right.
And in this society, the loss of context is another reason why people break away from their charges. Because being Kemetic is a charge.
Sure.
You know, it was the cool thing in the 90s, right? Like, let's discuss the rent. Like, I am Compresh in Netta, Mezura. My name sounds heavy. So when you greet me and you meet me, you're going to get a heavy, hopefully cool, pleasant, but a heavy energy. Meaning I am on my task, I am on my mission, I am always consistent.
Sure.
That is basically what your name should mean. And I know there are a lot of people with Kemetic names, however they may have gotten them, especially if they didn't get them the initiated way. And they'll be like, I am the grand hippie best, or something like that. And they have none of that type of energy. And it allows me to understand that not everybody even understands the energy that they're giving their self. They're calling themselves a saw, but they're more like a court jester almost, right? No regalness about them, no proper etiquette. So that's a weird name to endow on yourself. I'm not saying you can't live into it, but it also allows me to know that the name that you've given yourself was from an ego standpoint of who you thought you should be and not where you are in your reality. So we see a lot of that stuff, and hopefully in the future, some of that stuff alleviates and people can have more respect for their brand and their tradition. Because what is in a name? I ask the people, what is in a brand? What does a name mean to you? Us that's initiated.
You're asking us?
Yes.
To me, it means who I am, who I express myself as, and who it was divine to be.
So who we are, who we express ourselves as, and who it was divine to be.
It's more so your church, as your frequency of the deities that kind of correlate to how you interact with everybody else.
Correct. Now, it's our charge in this plane of existence in which we exist that coordinates the deities that govern us in this lifetime to do the things we are supposed to do while we are upon earth during this time period. That is your ring. That's why being initiated, going through the proper process. I know everything is online and everything is easier, but I remember my process quite clearly because after this weapon pet, which is August 3rd, 2 weeks after that, makes basically 10 years since I came into the Temple of the New. That's 10 years ago. After weapon pet, you add on 2 weeks, that's 10 years ago, I made my first pilgrimage to the Temple of the New. And my very first question was, yo, how do I learn that prayer? That was it. Got me to that. And it's like art of prayer, right? Like not who was who and what was what, just how do I learn that prayer and be a part of my life? Because I don't know about anybody else. I've been searching for Ra since I was 7. Since I told my father, we must worship Amun Ra at the age of 7. And then when I realized how everything played its part in everyone's life, think about it though. Think about how energy and the deep essence of who we are goes out into the world. I am 7, giving that out. Nasir is now learning under Mfadishi and giving it out. And then it's being created, boxed out. And then my search, I ran into different things. I'd be like, oh, no, I'm good on that. Oh, that's it. It's just some weird science. We're just talking about astrophysics. Okay, that's cool. I need more than that, right? Because I understood that. Oh, you guys got like a mix, a hodgepodge of languages. I don't know about that. And then Temple of the New comes, I'm invited, and I'm here. But my process is as such. I had to travel basically a state and a half to do my first item on Kemetic. That was it. There was no online at the time. They just were getting into it, but there was no online at the time. So I was getting home Friday nights like 11:30, midnight, depending on the train. I'm coming all the way from New York City. Then in Kemetic man's training, if you make it past first eye, and you're really serious and dedicated to being your divine self, I would just go sit at Nasir's feet in person, live time, with my other initiating partner at that time. Unfortunately, he didn't complete or couldn't make the final initiation, but I would say he gave it a good effort. It just was not maybe his time, or he just didn't have the willpower to continue, because a lot of things is, some people just don't have the willpower to do what we do and to live how we live, and we just have to learn to accept that. Because what breaks our resiliency is when we are trying to give people the energy that they just may not possess in this time. It's like you can't really tame a grown child, a man child, a woman child. They're untamable. And because they want to be untamable. Because think about what it is to be a servant of Ma'at. And in the Temple of Ra, that's what the Temple of the New believes in. We are a Temple of Ra. That's high energy. Imagine not having enough energy to keep up with the people that surround you with this divine energy. They might feel slighted in a way. They might think we're bragging. And Kurti's very humble, but she's one of the most stylish women I ever see. But if you come in here and you think you're going to outstyle the one with style, probably not, right? So it's like people are stepping into domains and different Kemetic temples and different levels of spirituality and not realizing how mighty each temple is. From the mighty Temple of Anu, to the mighty Nuaset Temple, to the mighty Raseki Temple, to the mighty Shrine of Ma'at, to the mighty Shrine of Best, and many other Kemetic temples throughout the United States. And some are far too. So it is not a thing that people believe that they are above you or you are beneath them when you enter. We just will continue to move in our higher essence, and it is your responsibility to level yourself up to the proper playing field. Even if you become part of the G League, you may never go pro, meaning you may never get the titles that you seek through your ego, right? Because a lot of things is ego. A lot of people want titles through the ego. And that kills your resiliency in the legacy, because when you don't receive a particular title, or you're not being asked to join like Saru or somebody else's initiated court, or even our royal court, with our different titles and meanings and outputs within our own temple, people actually do feel slighted. And it might not show publicly, but what you feel privately, we always feel the energy upon us. And sometimes that private disdain is worse than public. Because private disdain sits in your heart. And whatever sits in your heart will blacken the rose of your spirit.
That's true.
And we have to really watch that ego and that lust for things that you may not be able to handle. Just a fact. And continuing on, we do a lot. It's funny when you look at your writing, you're up here, you're like looking, and you're like, oh, what I want to touch. It's just it's so much. So let's get into some things that might throw you off of your resiliency. I want to get into a topic called Kemetic vampirism. It is a real thing. It is a real thing. This is for those who only seek the community when they have something to sell or promote to aggregate their self and their family. I repeat, Kemetic vampirism is for those who have said they have taken the pledge, the honor, the step forward, the step toward Ra, to initiate whatever shrine or temple they're a part of, but they only show up when there's something to sell or promote that benefits their self. Other than that, they are not dependable. And in that independability, what happens is people can feel the energy drain throughout the community. So the people that would give you the energy and support you will now look at you as they should, with that discerning and who I. We have the right to discern those who are not giving their best to Ra, and those who are not giving their best to us as a community, unless there's something that they can gain. That is anti-Kemetic resiliency, because that is anti-Kemetic community. Yeah, okay. Those who leave at the top of their game, they get their name, their life picks up, their progress. They're like, yeah, I got this name, I got these people energy, I got to see how they run things and how they do things. I got to kind of like interlope a little bit, right? It's no different than when you got to gentrify, the black version of gentrification. And we call that merleaching. I call it merleaching. When you take the love of others and you leech upon it, but it's only for yourself, and it's only to get you to a certain point in your life so you can disappear. And then you don't return until you fall flat on your face. That's a weird way to return. You leave us when you're at the height of your falcon flight. You don't come back, don't grab anybody, try to start something new. It's really weird. But then when your plane lands, or crash, or burn, or blow up, you come back to us like, hey, remember me? What's going on? And then you think it's weird that we're thinking you're weird coming back like nothing's happened. Because you are leeching off the love that we demonstrate to, especially our initiated ones, by living in Ma'at. So you will always get a particular amount of love from us, an amount of help from us, an amount of protection from us, because you are one of us. But that's got to be a hurt feeling when you're mer leeching. It's basically a sapping of love from your community. And once you sap the love from community, you really got to do a lot to get it back. So if that shoe fit, you can throw it to Pluto and get a new pair. Right? Back to title, because I realize, especially when being online, people always express that they're anti this particular group or they're better than this particular group. And that might be true. I'm not anti people saying that, but I am anti people not really being who they say they are. So, I'll give you my title. I am Kopesh. That means I have a certain level of discipline, certain level of fortitude. I am basically the sword of the temple. I am the person who comes and see you when there's a problem, and I'm the person who solves the problem. If there is a problem, there is no problem. And that is really my title, to do the things that is hard. I do the hard stuff. I do the stuff, the physically hard, the psychologically hard, and sometimes even spiritually hard things. But I'm also to cut through the guide that brings you to your higher self as well as Kopesh. You might be sore going through the cut through stuff, but you will be better and you will be able to grow your essence as well. And that's really what's in the title. So when you see me and you hear Kopesh, don't jump up and be like, I want to be Kopesh. It might not be into you. You might just need to be planting flowers somewhere, creating herbs somewhere, because that's your place, right? Know yourself. Listen, as a Kemetic person, we should all know our place and part in the divine scheme of things. To surpass your lane in life is very destructive, not just to yourself, but to the people who love, care, and respect for you, because you will begin to lose that love and respect. And then you got to work your way back up that mountain, right? You reposition yourself up that mountain. So don't start nothing if you can't finish it. And don't let your ego lead you to things so you can just say that you are this versus what your parents taught you. You are that versus what your grandmother taught you. You don't do this versus what your grandfather has raised you as, especially when they did the best that they could do with what they had at the time. To take shots at the things people gave you, the knowledge that they gave you, even if it's underneath a doctrine that might be quite destructive to black people, that seed of enlightenment, that seed of progression to get you over the hump was very pivotal in your life. So just use that, and then you don't need to knock it. Just move right along to the thing that inspires you. Perfect. Next. The third thing that destroys our resiliency, I call it the Nasut disease. Everybody wants to be king until they have to do the things kings do. It's really wild. I don't even want to call no black people kings anymore. Not like that. Not in the essence that we was using it. It has lost a lot of flair, a lot of glare. Same thing with the word queen. Every action of a woman can't be a queen. Every action of a man can't be king. But to be a real king, or not to the soot disease is this. You are taking such a high level of yourself, high dress of yourself, etc. You have the superficial wherewithal of yourself, meaning like you're like communism. You look good on paper, but underneath it just doesn't work in live time, right? So when you try to apply it, it doesn't work in your live time, because to be king or queen is a character thing. It's a richness and depth of self. It's a royalty under Ra, or whatever your main deity is of your temple. It is leaving your legacy, kind of like the hunt of old kings of old with their bloodline. It is your virility to do the course and the task that you set out to do, that Ra envisions you to do all the time. And to be okay with sitting on your throne alone, or with me, to fulfill your divine charge to deity. And if you are unable or unwilling to do those things, then there's no need for you to worry about being in a city or even having such a title. Just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, you know, make juice and hang out and help others in other ways, you know? And that's cool. No disrespect to Kate, that was just in my mind. Just in my mind. I need you for the juice. So that's not, that's not that. But it was in my notes. It goes with planting a garden, right?
Okay.
Right, cool. And this is somebody who wanted to be a botanist and working toward being a botanist. So don't worry about that. But yeah, what I'm saying is just stay in your lane. And we have to really ask ourselves, and I ask the crowd, are we not mighty, each and every one of us? Online, for those who are initiated, are you not mighty? Are we not able to reconstruct ourselves and rise like the Benu? Are we not sons, at least here, are we not sons and daughters of Ra? Do we not honor being sons and daughters of Ra? Do we not honor our charge as being Kemetic initiates of the temple of Anu, or any other shrine and temple that you are a part of? Because that's what it's all about. That honor, that being here. Rain, snow, sleet, heat. That's just what it is. Because guess what? Ra is there for us. Rain, snow, sleet, heat. And Ra will always provide for us rain, snow, sleet, heat. So Ra will always make sure we maintain our charges. Or you're going to be knocked down a few notches and just have to rise again, like Satesh, and he still ends up at the foot of Ra's solar bark. So this is not a thing of if you go left that you can't go right. That's another people's doctrine. Our doctrine is this: we move with each other with so much grace and a particular amount of love and a lot of discernment, and we hold people accountable to their name or Ren and to the deities that govern their life. So, to add to your Kemetic resiliency, you all should have a life reading. That is everybody in this room, that is everybody online. That is just a must if you wish to walk this path. So your life reading will tell you who, what you are, where you need to go, how you need to get there, and most importantly, what forces of energy you should be bringing in during this lifetime. And you can hit up the Temple of Anu to get those things, that life reading, and go forward from there. I would like to read from Kemetic Proverbs, page 50. The wise one serves the higher planes and rule the lower in this way. One operates the laws instead of being a slave to them. That is the purpose of your reading, so you can operate with different laws, seen and unseen, and navigate this world with your best, with your left foot forward toward Ra. For we all have charges and parameters in which we agree to follow as initiates. And I know you can tell your resiliency for the legacy is fleeting when you begin to play the I forgot Kemmunion is on Sunday. I forgot Feast of Sekhmet is December 30th or 31st. I forgot Reverend Pet was the like people like, oh man, you guys have Reverend Pet, why nobody let me know? Excuse you, you're one of us. You should be in the know. And these are patterns that you start seeing, and you can slowly begin to see people's resiliency for the legacy willfully chip away. This is a willful thing. Because when you begin to play dumb, you have to call a thing what it is. You willfully start playing dumb, you willfully chip away your ability to do the things that you said you will do. Instead of just going like, man, I gotta get my house in order. Oh man, it's my grandmother's 90th birthday. You had 90 years, you still can make communion. You can come later. Don't worry, listen. If she's still here, she's here. She's been here 90 years. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. And I know that sounds wild, but the truth of the matter is this. We need each other like a garden needs the sun. And until we view each other in that light, it's a hard battle to continue to fight through the ISFAT and with the launch of APEP in the sky during the eclipse, right? So there's a lot of things happening energetically and internally with us at all times as Kemetic people. But to play the game that you don't know when our communion is, when our holidays are, or to choose something other than your holiday, right? Your or my thing over it. It really, it's beyond a bad taste. It puts us in a peculiar situation, meaning when I meet your family or friend, and they go like, well, such and such was at such and such, and I gotta go, well, such and such should have been at, and have a super hard stance toward it, and not feel no kind of way. You know, it wasn't me who made it awkward. It was me correcting your infantile wrong. So it makes us look a different, it makes us look very cultish or whatever, or unreasonable, but we're just correcting your incorrection in front of others. So it puts everybody, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with going through the fire for what is right for Ra. That is always my stance, because unlike most, and I'm just speaking for myself here, unlike most people, Ra is real to me, and Ra exists for me. And it's just not the sun, it's just like not metaphysics. So, yeah, Ra is real to me. I like it. Because I know we all been doing this for a while, and it may escape you when you came in. Like, I remember still to this day, my first road trip with my clan, Mesirah clan. And that was a wild road trip. But within that, that's how our initiation kind of started. When I think back, right, like I'm going basically back 2015 or something like that, 2016. Yeah, so like, we're on this road trip, and it should be 7 of us, technically, in our clan. 7 of us. So we're on a road trip, and everybody that should be in our clan is there on that particular road trip with us. But it was a real blessing that the road trip and future experiences allowed us to, not allow us, it allowed Spirit to alleviate people from their position of being part of our clan. That's what happened. That's why things had to happen that way. it gave spirit time to deal with people's ego thought of what they wanted to do. It gave them time to realize that they are just not built for this right now. And that allowed me to have a really beautiful, a really stunning, and a really powerful clan to grow, blossom, and to have complete transparency. And we be moving on the same time. And it's just something so wonderful about that, because I am not on the God frequency that I'm on, not without my clanmates. So I want to give a special shout out to Kurti and Yasek Ray of the Mezurah clan for keeping each other, for us keeping each other honest, for us being able to have we have a lot more joy moments than anything. We're peaceful. We're like 90% peace and joy and laughter and all that stuff. But our 10% is dense. We're a dense group. You know what I mean? We got a lot of gravity with us. But we lead and we follow each other very well. And everybody always falls right into their place, in their position, in the divine scheme of things. And that's the beauty of clan and the beauty of initiation. So, if you thought coming into this legacy your life should get easier, I will say 10. No. If you thought coming into this legacy things should just fall out the sky onto your lap, some things may, but I would still say a strong 10. In your search and chase for God frequency or God shit, because that's what being Kemetic means. You have to really ask yourself, should your life become easier when you're mastering a higher order of living, control, emotional intelligence, in building bonds in a community of strangers, and also leaving your own legacy. So when you transition to the doo-wop, and hopefully make it the pet, that you left something for the future to continue on, and so that your name lives on. That's really about it. So suffering is the golden arc upon which the rose of the soul unfolds. Once again, suffering is the golden arc upon which the rose of the soul unfolds. So, do not allow your rose to become a weed of contempt. Do not allow your rose to become a weed of anger. Do not allow your rose to become hyper egotistical because you read 2 or 3 more books, or you sat with a particular ancestor. Because Clyde has his cat. I pretty much sat with every ancestor pretty much everybody talks about. But I'm just quiet about it because the context and the essence of what they taught me was to speak less, listen more, and just become it. So there's no need to name drop things when you are it. It's just what it is. Watch out those name droppers though. They'll name drop you to death, and then their master or instructor died a whole different tradition, but they'll wave around the flag that they did a few vows and tickled their feet together in some initiation in some temple in Egypt, as if we're supposed to applaud that, and they're not even a believer of any of the deities of the Kemetic tradition. It's just all science fiction for them. So you can take that with a grain of salt, and note that if those shoes fit, you can throw them to Pluto and get a new pair. So, I do want to get into a few things that you can do to keep your resiliency in this first part, and then I'm going to get into a little theology. Energy cultivation. All Kemites must practice energy cultivation. And that's dedicated meditations, dedicated stretching, and dedicated breath work. Next is patience. Learning, listening, and proper application of what you've learned. There's really no need for you divine beings here and online that we have to constantly repeat certain things. You should be in the know of what you've been told and what you said that you already know. And if not, go back through your notes until you know. You have all the time in the world to do that. So take that time and have patience, most importantly. Have patience with yourself and have grace with yourself to learn what you need to learn at your applied time. Strategy. All Kemites needs to be strategists. From starting anything, just planning your days. And from planning your days become weeks. And from planning your weeks become months. And this practice would allow you to get up on the world and your things before the sun rises. Next, passion. I mean, really, do you not love this legacy? Do you not love Ma'at? Do you not love each other by giving the benefit of the doubt and leaving proper space and discernment for those that come back that went away, that wishes to reset their foot back in? So I wanted to also offer the olive branch for those who watch us in the shadows, who don't like what we post, but they're clapping on the inside and they don't know how to get back. But just know our passion, your passion for the legacy and our passion for you is still there. So just come on back home. Come chamber back up. Come rejoin your clan. Come rejoin the community. We are going to discern you though. Don't confuse that. But home is where the heart is. This is your home if you're initiated here with us, no matter how far or near you are. Last is drive. So, bring your best to the TOA. So, we have something called First Eye on Kemetic. I want to really put that out there. We have First Eye on Kemetic, and that starts July 30th. So please, take First Eye on Kemetic. But before you take First Eye on Kemetic, I would say, are you coming to the Temple of the New as your best self? Where are you at in feeling your best? That is very important. What is your drive in doing this? And are you able to bring your talents, your attributes to things that will live through memory with the Temple of the New? Because we all have the drive. We're a house filled of entrepreneurs, teachers, scientists, scholars, martial artists. We pretty much cover every gambit of society here in the Temple of the New. So if you have no gambit, just let us be. Let's keep rocking until you get something and then pop up. Hang out a bit until you get that drive to be more than what you have been. So those are my 5. And for everybody else, remember, we should also be doing our dua. We might not make every dua, but a day shouldn't go by that we don't do dua. So our first dua is dua to Kepper, which is performed at sunrise. Next is dua to Ra, is midday. Dua to Atum, sunset. And dua to Tamu Kepper, which is at midnight. We should also be doing our opening the way. The opening the way brings power to our day, to our house, and to wherever we are in time and space. It makes the ground sacred. So we face east, and that represents Nebuchadnezzar and Hapi, and that is the lungs and ear. We face south, which is Serket and Quib-Senef, which is the small intestines and water. We face west, which is All-Set and Emset, which is the liver and the earth. And we face north, which is Neith, and Duamatef, which is the large intestines and fire. So, the other groups, we have our own elemental pattern as well, our own organ pattern as well. We do not have to truth out of our legacy for those things. And once again, having your life lessons reading being done is a must. Actually, having a reading done on every major aspect of your life should be a must. So all that like, hey, I'm getting a new place, or hey, I'm going to start this new job in Omaha, Nebraska. you should get a reading to make sure that is in divine accordance with what you came to do in this realm. And if it's thumbs up, go for it. But if it's thumbs down and you still do it, good luck. And you have to, good luck in the way that you have to deal with the consequence of your actions as a divine being. Your emotional response, your spouse's emotional response, your kid's emotional response, all that falls upon you as the one who leads your home. So, I'll end part one on that. And I just want to get into a little cosmology. So that ends Resiliency part one. Part two, hopefully soon, later on. And I just want to talk about Ra is not just a myth, a science, or secret order. All Kemites must take a stance that what we teach is real and true and not minuscule. I realize when I read comments, people go like, what do you believe? What is your creation theology? And blah, blah, blah. And rightfully so, because a lot of times we forget that we are dealing with God, God itself, and God himself. And we're just afraid to say it. So we'll go like, well, this mythological story, we start talking like a European scholar. Well, they meant that the cherry earth, that's not our thing. We must really be 10 foot down and believing what we believe is true and exact. Or I don't think the legacy can grow or flourish where it should be until we get off of that hyper science, hyper scholar, right? You gotta know what you know and have faith in what you know, hope in what you know, and believe in what you know. So, Ra is one of the most important deities throughout the Kemetic era, when we, black people, ruled the earth, the sea, and maybe even time itself. That is an actual fact of existence. Ra, the creator with the head of falcon and crowned with the radiant sun disk. When Ra emerged from the chaotic waters of the moon, time began to begin. He appears on the primeval hill, the Ben stone, and from there he begins creation of the world. That is our theology on creation. And I'm explaining it as you would to a 3-year-old. By spitting out Shu, the nectar of air, and Tefnut, the nectar of moisture. From there, Shu and Tefnut give birth to Gad, earth, that which you walk upon, that which your oil is blood, the oil that you use in your car, is sinew, etc. Is Gad, that's earth. And that's an actual thing. And Nut, sky. You see the stars, you see the comets, you get to witness the sun and moon and everything else. From there, Gad and Nut give birth to Asar, Aset, Satesh, Nebahet, and Heru. And that is why we have Wecker and Pet, which is actually August 3rd, so make sure to come through to that to celebrate the birth of Aset, Asar, Satesh, Nebahet, and Heru, in which starts the Kemetic New Year. Ra, actual Ra, ruled earth during the golden age or the time of the gods. I repeat, Ra ruled earth during the golden age or the time of the gods. He brought order, prosperity, protection, and most importantly, he set an eternal stone, the maintenance of Ma'at. This is our theology 101 team. 101. Ra's daily journey symbolizes the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. He travels on a solar bark, the Menjet, which is the morning boat, and the Mesetet, which is the evening boat, battling APEC to ensure that the sun rises and the continuation of life continues on his human servants. That is the ultimate love and protection, and that is why we call him Ra. I'll end it there. Remember, I am a Kopesh of the Temple of Anu. My name is Depression Netzah Ra. I just want to thank everybody coming out this Communion Sunday. And once again, our first Eye on Kemetic starts July 30th. Weber and Pet is on August 3rd. Please get there before 12 p.m. We start on Kemetic time, so that's right on time. So you should be there at 11:30. If you're coming to visit, you can go online and get your tickets. If you found this information likable and you want to support the temple and the continuation of our journey here on the path, please, you can Zelle, Cash App, and PayPal, templeofanu.com or Temple of Anu, period. And we'll be there, we'll definitely receive that. So, if everybody can stand. Hands up. Did we have a good time today?
Yeah.
All right. So, Shimmy and Matet, brothers right over left, sisters left over right. Dear new Uncle Johnson. Open the arms, give energy around the room. Bring your foot into each other, bring your hands into your heart, and we ground this journey out today. Wa Sunu Shemet. Do our net to everybody. Have a good one.
It's like a small, it's like a snack. Stop it.
I think we need to cut these off though. Go ahead. Cut them off.
Oh, this is dope. Oh, it's supposed to be grass.
You gotta zoom in.
All right, ready?